it's Tina and I am back, and it is time for another cooking with me video. This time I am featuring an authentic Jamaican dish. You guys seem to really enjoy the last cooking video that I did, so I said, hey, let's go ahead and make this a regular thing. You guys also requested it, and this time around I'm doing an authentic Jamaican dish. This is actually the national dish of Jamaica. It's ackee and saltfish. Ackee is the national, is it the national fruit? I don't know that it is. I'm going to just check my history because apparently I don't know what the hell's going on with my own Jamaican culture. But I know that ackee and saltfish is the national dish, and that's what I'm going to showcase here in this video. And I'm going to take you shopping so you'll see the ingredients that I pick up before we get into the cooking. And I'm also going to share with you the things that we would typically eat with the ackee and saltfish as like the side dish. So you know you have meat and potatoes. This is the potatoes of an ackee and saltfish dish. It's typical, it's what we would eat. So I'm going to share with you all that stuff. And I should preface this by saying that this is not like an official recipe. It's kind of a variation of the official recipe, but people will of course add their own twist to it, do their own variations, add things that they prefer to add to a dish. I'm just going to show you the way I prepare it, the way I love to eat it. So let's go ahead and jump into the shopping part, and then we'll get into the actual cooking. So let's go ahead.
Thank you. Why is it so expensive?
All right, so we are back from grocery shopping, and here are all the ingredients that we picked up. So we have the ackee in salt water. Then we have yellow yam, green bananas. We have the flour to make our dumplings. We have the actual saltfish. We have scallions or green onions, hot Jamaican peppers, tomatoes, onions, which are just yellow onions, and of course, a plantain for fried plantain. So let's get into it. So the very first thing we're going to do is boil our saltfish, and you need a pot that's going to hold the entire saltfish and cover it in water up to a fingertip deep, and you want this to be hot water. So this is going to do two things for the saltfish. You want to rehydrate the saltfish because right now it's in a dried, salted state, and you want it to be edible. So you're going to rehydrate it by boiling it, but you're also going to remove the majority of the salt from the saltfish because you can't eat that saltfish like it is right now. It's way too salty. So we want to boil to remove the salt from the saltfish. So you're going to get a pot of water to cover your saltfish and set it to boil. So this is a pretty big piece of saltfish, and we're not going to use all of it today. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in pieces and decide how much I'm going to include in today's dish. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really love a lot of saltfish in my ackee and saltfish. So I'm going to cook all of this. So I'll just go ahead and rinse it just to remove the excess salt from the saltfish. So now we can go ahead and place this saltfish in the boiling water. And we're going to allow this to boil for 20 to 30 minutes. So that will remove more and more of the saltiness from the saltfish. So while that is boiling, we can go ahead and cut up our ingredients for the saute. So I have a yellow onion here, and I'm just gonna slice it up. For this, just include as much onion as you like. I happen to really like the onion flavor in saltfish and in salt mackerel dishes, so I actually slice up quite a bit. And then I have my hot pepper, which I absolutely love everything spicy, so I'm going to slice up quite a bit of this. Again, use how much you prefer depending on your tolerance for spice. You see all those seeds? Oh my God. Oh, and it smells so hot too. That's a good hot pepper. I also have a tomato here, which I'm gonna just remove the top of that, slice it in half, and then I'll slice this up. Again, don't slice your finger off. That's not what we want to do here. I'm also going to grab a bit of scallion, not too much. I don't put a lot of scallions or green onions in these dishes. So if I'm making ackee and saltfish or salt mackerel or tin mackerel or corned beef, I don't really use a lot of scallions, but scallions are just a part of most Jamaican dishes. It's just one of our go-to ingredients, so I include a little bit of that as well. So we'll put this aside and wait for the fish to finish boiling. All right, now let's go ahead and prep the rest. So we have our green bananas. I only have 3 here. And I don't peel my green bananas. I used to peel these in Jamaica and it was such a task. Like you would literally have to cut it and peel it with your hands. You would get the sap all over your fingers, under your fingernails. It just created a nasty effect on your hands. So now what I do is I simply cut the ends off just like that and then slice it down the side and add it to the water. So it splits the peel and that is going to boil in the water just like that, and it will separate once it's fully cooked. And that's how I've been doing my green bananas. It's just the easiest way to do it. My mom actually showed me that trick and I haven't peeled the bananas since. So here are the green bananas. You're gonna wash these, rinse these off so they don't have any residue on them before you put them in your pot. Now for the yellow yam. Be very careful with yellow yam. This will cause a reaction on your hands if the juices, so the sap from the yellow yam while you're peeling it gets on your hands or gets on your skin anywhere. It itches, okay? It itches like crazy. Now I've gotten used to it, so I don't worry about it too much. As long as I wash my hands right after, I don't have an issue with itching. So I'm just gonna cut off the dead part of the bottom and then just peel the yellow yam. So get rid of the peel right here. And I try not to touch it too much with my hands, again, to avoid getting any of the sap from the yam itself on my skin. I tell you, that itching, oh my God, it's terrible. It feels awful and it goes away after a few hours, but I mean, it's dreadful while it's happening. So I'll take off all the peel and I'll also cut just a little bit of where they had cut it in the supermarket. Make sure that we get rid of any little extra parts. And again, we're gonna rinse this and then I'm gonna cut it up to put it in the pot. Another thing about yellow yam is it will start changing color. So it will go brown or this red that you see happening right now. So you wanna work quickly with it. So I'm slicing it up to put it in the pot so it will cook evenly. So I have 4 slices here. So we'll go ahead, our green bananas have been rinsed and we're gonna drop them in the pot with the boiling water. We're also going to put our yellow yam in that pot. And this is gonna cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Not too long because these starches don't take a long time to soften up at all. You wanna go ahead and apply salt, butter, or oil to your pot as well to season it for flavor. So I'm gonna put a little bit of salt to my pot. Well, not a little bit, apparently. And then I'll also add some butter to my pot and stir that around. Now you can cook your dumplings separately or you can add them to this same pot. If you add them to this pot, they're gonna get a little bit of the residue from these ground provisions, especially the bananas with their peel on it. It's gonna get on your dumplings, so I'm gonna actually cook my dumplings separate from that. So it's been about 20-25 minutes right now with the saltfish pot. So we're simply gonna drain the water off the saltfish. Okay, so my saltfish is done boiling, so I drained it and added cold water to the pot so that it could cool the saltfish down. And now I will just drain the water off. And now we'll go ahead and break the saltfish up into pieces. This should be pretty easy once it's done boiling.
I don't like my saltfish to be too large, but you also don't want to get it too fine so it gets lost in the ackee. So just break it apart. And while you're doing this, remove any bones from the actual saltfish. So I have a couple of bones in the middle that I will remove. So the kind of pieces that I go for are this size, maybe a little bit bigger, like this size. But I don't really want big chunky pieces. So again, this is based on what you prefer. Some people really like chunky pieces. I personally don't. And some people leave the bones in. I don't, because there's nothing worse than getting a bone stuck in your mouth when you're trying to just enjoy your meal. And you'll feel the bones as you separate the saltfish pieces. So I'll just take these bones out. So I found a couple of bones. Okay. And I should have said you can break a piece off, taste it to make sure that it's not too salty in case you need to boil it again. For me, I know it's not too salty right now. So that's why I just went ahead and started breaking it all apart. And there you have it. My saltfish is ready for the saute. As you can see, it's not that much saltfish. I thought I had more, but now I'm a little bit mad that I didn't get more saltfish. But here you have it. The saltfish is ready to be sauteed. So for the oil, I am using my Carrington Farms organic coconut cooking oil. It's unflavored, and it actually has some ingredients in here that keeps it liquid at room temperature. So I really like this, because if you know coconut oil, all natural coconut oil will harden at room temperature because it melts at a higher temperature than we're used to. In Jamaica, I didn't have to worry about this. It's when I came here I had to worry about my coconut oil hardening, but this one remains liquid at room temperature, which is what I like. So I'll add enough of this to coat the bottom of my pot. This is also gonna add a sauce to your pot, and I'll let that heat up a bit before I go in with my onions. I'll also add my tomatoes, and of course my hot peppers, and as mentioned, just a little dash of scallions. And we're gonna stir that and allow that to saute and soften up and sweat. You wanna turn the flame down because coconut oil burns at a low temperature, and you don't want any of these ingredients to burn at all. So you'll keep moving them around until they stop frying as much and just start sweating more in the pot. And I'll even it out so the ingredients all get a chance to touch that oil and that heat and really get to sweat. So once our ingredients get to the level of softness that we want, we can go ahead and add the saltfish to the pot. And at this point, I'll go ahead and add my seasonings. So I'm gonna start out with black pepper, which is a key ingredient for me. So I add a pretty decent amount. Season to taste. If you don't like black pepper, don't apply too much. A little bit of onion powder, garlic powder, of course seasoned salt, this is Lawry's, and a little bit of my Jamaican choice garlic, scallion, and allspice seasoning. Just a little, not too much. And then we'll stir that around, and we will let that cook for about 2 minutes so that the seasonings get all incorporated into the saltfish. Once that has had a chance to saute just a little bit, turn the fire down, and I'm gonna add my Ackees. So like I mentioned, these are the Grace Ackees in salt water. That's key, salt water, not brine. And I drain the water from the can, and we're just gonna go in and add the Ackee straight to the pot. And we have 2 cans of these, so I'll pour it right into the pot. And now we'll make sure that we stir everything together. And this is why I wanted to have more saltfish, because I love saltfish and Ackee, not Ackee and saltfish, but that's just my preference. A lot of people prefer more Ackee versus saltfish ratio. I prefer more saltfish than Ackee. Now, some people like to keep their Ackee this size, so whole like this, where it looks really pretty, it looks really presentable. I like my Ackee a little bit more mashed out or a little bit softer. So I actually go in and go at my ackee to break it up a little bit. I know this is like blasphemy for Jamaicans. Jamaicans are like, no, my ackee need for ola. And like some of my uncles will literally have a fit if the ackee is soft or mashed out. And I'm like, yo, I prefer my ackee a little bit softer. I don't know. That's just how I prefer it. So again, do this according to how you prefer it. I just prefer to not have whole pieces of ackee. That's just my thing. But stir everything together and you're gonna let this cook for 5 minutes or so. You can add a little bit of water to create more of a sauce. And I'll do just that. I'll just add a little bit of water, nothing crazy. And you can also add a little bit more oil to it. Just make sure you mix everything around. You don't want it to get too soggy. That's like another blasphemy for ackee and saltfish. Don't make it get like porridge. So you don't want it to get too soggy. I think this is the perfect amount of moisture. And then you're gonna let that cook again for 5 to 10 minutes. With ackee, you have to be careful to cook it so it's completely cooked. Now, I know a lot of people get freaked out about being poisoned by ackee. It's not that poisonous. It's poisonous, but it's not as poisonous as people make it out to seem. Just let it cook for 5 to 10 minutes. That's gonna get rid of the really like sharp ackee taste from it, and it will make it a little bit more flavorful the more it cooks down. So let that cook again, 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll check back in with it. Now let's go ahead and check in on our ackee. So I think that is nice and perfect. You can taste to see if you need to add anything. I know I don't need to add anything just by practice, but you can just give it a taste. Is it cooked? Is it soft? Is it salty? Is it not salty? Does it need some more garlic powder? What does it need? But that is pretty perfect for me. So there you have it. This is our ackee. And it wouldn't be a Jamaican dish without plantain. So go ahead and fry some up. And now we can go ahead and add our ackee to our plate. Ooh. Yes. All right, so here we go. This is the final meal. Ooh. Go ahead and enjoy it. Guys, so hopefully you enjoyed that video. Again, I think I'm gonna make this a regular series on my channel. It's probably not gonna be too regular. It's just gonna be sporadic. I'm gonna share different cooking videos, different dishes that I've created that I absolutely love, and I'm gonna put my own twist on it, of course. I will leave all the ingredients down below. As I mentioned, I don't follow a recipe. There's no rhyme or reason to the things I do. I just cook the way I like to taste food, and that's what I'm sharing with you guys. So I will leave all the ingredients down below, and as usual, I will leave also links to my Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, where you should be following me along because we have fun over here. And until my next video, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you. Bye, guys.